Newton's third law. So you may have heard action, reaction. We are going to try and understand that at a much deeper level than just action, reaction. Okay, so Newton's third law. There's Isaac Newton. Nice hair. Action, reaction. Okay, here's what we want to be able to do. We want to understand the third law. With that, we need to be able to identify action-reaction pairs. Okay? Now, forces only exist in pairs. You cannot have a force just by itself. Okay? You have to have another force that goes with it. Okay? And we need to be able to explain why action-reaction pairs do not cancel. Okay? This last part right here is probably the hardest part of Newton's third law that we need to be able to deal with. Okay, so here's a video. That's kind of funny. Action, reaction. Don't mess with the old ladies, okay? Action, reaction. It's really expensive to get your airbags put back in.
Would that really happen?
I don't think that would really happen.
I'm confused.
But it could if the front of the car was like malfunctioning or something and you hit it in the right spot, maybe. Okay, for every action there is an opposite and equal reaction. You have probably heard this in 8th grade or so. So that means if A pulls B left, B also has to pull A right. That's a generic example here. Okay, lots of examples in the real world here. All right, so we got a car. Okay, and actually, forget the car for a second. Let's just talk about walking for a minute. Okay, when I am walking, what direction am I pushing on the ground?
Down, backwards.
Well, down weight-wise, yes. But for the steps, I am pushing
Backwards.
back. Okay, so how if I am pushing back do I go forward?
Because the ground resists you.
Okay, it has to do with Newton's third law. Hicks pushes on ground back, ground pushes on Hicks forward. Equal and opposite. Okay, now the ground and I are experiencing the same amount of force. Okay, so I'm pushing on the ground, let's say with like, I don't know, 35 newtons that way. Okay, the ground is pushing on me with 35 newtons. What's going to respond more to the 35 newtons, me or the whole ground?
You.
Me. Okay, it'd be weird if the ground responded more because then when I ran, the earth would just go like this and I would stay in the same place. Ish.
Right, it's left only to
Okay.
us.
Or when a car pushed back on the road, it would slow down the speed of the Earth's rotation. Or speed it up, depending on which way the car pushed. Okay? So let's make a huge point here, okay? Last time we did this tug-of-war thing, right? Okay, and we said if we are at a dead even tug-of-war, what's the net force on this? 0, okay? So on the block, we're going to learn how to do something called a free body diagram, okay? And here's the block. I've got one force in this direction, one force in this direction. Here's me, here's the person opposing me. Those forces cancel, we call F net 0, right? Now these forces are acting on the same object though. The pair forces for these would be one on me, one on Sawyer. Okay? So there's actually 4 forces involved right there. Alright, now let's look at this. Car pushes on road, road pushes on car. Okay? Are these vectors acting on the same object?
Yeah.
No, they are not. One is acting on the road, and one is acting on the car. Okay? So these force pairs do not cancel. These do cancel because we're talking about the same object here. Okay? Alright, we'll do more examples. So let's look at this line here. Okay, do you think it was painted like that? The painters were just like having a bad day. They painted it curvy.
No.
Probably not. If we zoom in on this, okay, over time this is showing that the car is pushing back on the road and the road has actually oozed backward a little bit. Okay? If we look out the window here, and we look at, okay, that car just went by, it is very, very correct to say, oh, hey, look at that car pushing that road. Let me start over. Look at the road pushing the car on down towards Junction. Okay, that sounds really weird, but it's true. The road is what is pushing the car. Because the car is pushing on the road. Okay? Alright. Okay, question for you. Okay, let's have a vote. Who thinks the foot receives more force? No one? Okay, who thinks the ball receives more force? Okay, who did not vote?
Swear.
Okay, like the 9 of you, alright, so either you did not vote because it's 7th period, or you did not vote because you don't care, or you did not vote because neither of those answers are correct.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Neither of those answers are correct, okay? They both received the same force, is the answer.
But why does the ball like fly and your
Okay,
foot
that's a
stays
great question. Why does the ball fly off and the foot doesn't really do much? Okay, let's look at this. So, the ball receives that force, the foot receives that force from the ball, alright, but one responds more. A better way to say that would be one accelerates more, okay? Why does the ball accelerate more?
Less mass.
It's not attached to anything.
Okay, I heard a lot of answers there. It's not attached to anything. She's grounded to the whole earth. Okay, Newton's second law, though. Alright? The ball has less what? The ball has less mass, okay? This girl, okay, has got her leg, her whole body, and then she's grounded to the entire earth. Okay, is the entire earth going to accelerate downward because she kicked a ball? Just a little bit. An immeasurable amount. Okay, this force is acting on her and sort of acting on the entire earth. Alright? Okay, lacrosse players, another example. Who receives more force, the hitter or the hittee?
The same.
Same force. That's the answer to every question today. Same force. Well, not every question, but lots of them. Okay, they receive the same force. Now, who's going to respond more? See how he's not grounded? See how his feet are kind of up like that? A little bit? Okay, this guy is dug in. He's sort of part of the whole earth. Lots of mass. Alright? This guy's going to accelerate more on the left. Oh, situation.
That's supposed to be a lake.
No, you'll see. Okay. You guys remember my hostage puzzle that I gave you?
No.
We didn't do that.
The block.
You talking about the box?
Okay, anyway, you guys graduate high school. You did well in high school physics. You became very smart. You went and you did college physics and became even smarter, and then you were hired by the CIA. And you're sneaking around in foreign countries, and you happen to get captured, unfortunately. And the terrorists give you a little riddle to get out of. Well, not a riddle, a situation. Okay? And they take you up into a helicopter. They're creative terrorists. And they find this area where there's a mountain here, and frictionless ice. Alright? A frozen, frictionless situation. Okay? And they lower you down. There's a rope. There's the male CIA, there's the female CIA agent, and they separate you so that you cannot help each other. You are far apart and you're on frictionless ice. Then they, whoa, not that yet. Then they take the rope up and they leave, and you're just there.
What is frictionless ice?
Frictionless ice means, well, normal ice has low friction, so that's why you can slip. Frictionless ice has 0 friction.
So you
Is
like
that
can't.
possible?
It's just super slick.
It's super slick. Okay, so how do you get off the ice?
Fingernails.
You.
Okay, fingernails won't work because the ice is so hard you cannot break it, you cannot dig in with your fingernails.
So it's
You
impenetrable.
call
Okay, you cannot slide across on your belly because when you try and do this, there's literally no friction, so you can't push back on the ice. You'll just be sitting on the ice going like this.
How thick is the ice?
Jump.
Okay, you jump. If you try and jump forward, it is just like walking. You have to push off something, so you will fall flat on your face. You can't jump.
You call your boy.
You call your boy. Okay, you have no phone. Nope. And if you do, there's a cell phone scrambler on the mountain that will not allow incoming calls.
You cry and you use your tears.
Okay, when you grab right now, you have that.
My
You
cell
have to
phone.
use your clothes.
So I have this.
Oh, yeah, just you don't step one direction.
Okay, you can't put your clothes on the ground because the clothes too will slip out from under. They don't have friction either.
You just throw
You
stuff.
throw it. Okay, you throw anything you have is the answer.
What would that do?
It doesn't matter. Okay, now let's talk
So if
about
I
what that
force
would
you
do.
to throw that way, then you're like moving the other way.
If I throw this, did I produce a force on it?
Yeah.
Okay, then did it produce a force on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really think about that force because usually the force on it is what we care about. Okay, but if I'm on frictionless ice, if I throw this with 20 newtons, I am going to slide backwards with a force of 20 newtons while I'm creating the force. After I release it, there's no force on me, but I'm moving.
That's not
Is there anything to slow me down?
No.
No, because it's frictionless ice. So once I get moving, I will slowly slide to the other side of the lake. This will obviously accelerate a lot faster
What if you run out of things?
to real life.
Yes.
Of course it does. Okay, now not frictionless ice, but same idea. How is Bambi going to get off the ice in this situation?
Go throw the rabbit.
Throw the rabbit. Well, how about kick Thumper? Yes, it has a name. Okay, so watch this.
that would
That is
happen.
the same as this, guys, but it's just a little bit more realistic-ish. Okay? Now, here's Newton's third law. Bambi produces a force on Thumper. Thumper produces a force back on Bambi. Those forces are equal, but why does Thumper accelerate more? Less mass. Okay, good.
Like a hockey puck.
Okay, now furthermore, relating this to real life, I sometimes wish Newton stopped at 2 laws. Okay, do you guys, let's say you have a fire hose, and you're just kind of standing there not paying attention, you're not really grounded, okay? If you have a fire hose, isn't that gonna produce a force on you to throw you backwards? Okay, probably not this much, okay, not so much real life.
Maybe she weighs 20 pounds.
Good point. Okay, now, this is real life, however.
So we basically need to try that in this hallway.
Look at this. Yeah, budget cuts made it so that they wouldn't let me waste a bunch of fire extinguishers to do that.
Oh, come on.
How much a fire he like actually tries to.
Okay, now what you guys just saw
Bring your own fire.
is a very small scale one of these. Okay? And also the same as the Bambi and Thumper example. Okay? Instead of throwing lots of little thumpers to get the rocket to go up, what are they throwing?
That's rare.
Hot, fast-moving gas particles, okay? The rocket is throwing the particles down, so the action force Action, rocket pushes gas down. Reaction is gas pushes rocket up. It's Newton's third law.
Oh.
Okay, just throwing hot gas particles down. All right, now, here's the deal. It's a misconception that rockets push off a launch pad, okay? That's how you jump, all right? If this is the launch pad, okay, you are pushing off of it, all right? Here, we don't even need a launch pad, okay? The rocket is actually pushing off of those gas particles instead. Okay, this work the same way?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It does not, but does it still have to follow Newton's third law?
Yes.
Yes, everything does. Okay, what's the action force? Propeller pushes air back. Reaction, air pushes propeller forward. Okay, and then there's lift forces and other things too. Bernoulli's principle. Okay. All right, so can we take this and take it to space and fly it around? No air resistance. Okay? This doesn't work by throwing things out like a rocket does. Okay? Now the shuttle, we can take to space. When it's landing, it operates like a plane. Ish. Okay? When it's in space, it doesn't operate like a plane. Okay? Now, let's talk about this. Let's say the shuttle wants to rotate, let's say it wants to rotate to the right like this. Okay, how does it do that? They take Thumper up there and rotate. Doesn't it have a little psh, 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 psh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure does. Okay?
Like in gravity.
Like in gravity.
Oh.
So watch this. Okay? High-speed gas particles come out of that side and it starts rotating. If they want to stop spinning, okay, they fire that jet in the opposite direction. Okay? Alright, now what if we want to go this way?
Fire it back.
Probably just a bigger expulsion of gas particles. Okay? So this thing could spin. Alright, spin again and then do that to stop.
In space, if they didn't do anything to push it back, wouldn't it just keep
Yes. Okay, if one of those fired and we didn't fire it again, it would keep on continuing to spin because there's nothing to force it the other way, to stop it. That's right. Okay, now what about this? Does the shuttle need any jets to make it orbit, to do this? It can just keep on doing that forever. All right. Now, why? What's going on here? Okay.
Gravitational pull.
Okay. It is. That's right. It is simply a what?
Satellite.
Projectile. Okay. Now, satellites, projectiles. Satellites are just projectiles that, instead of falling into the Earth, are falling around the Earth. So cool. More on that later, though. Okay, I'm going to show you two videos. You tell me which one has better Newton's third law physics in it. This is Wall-E to start. Okay, video one.
That was really cute.
Trust your feelings. Squad leaders, we've picked up a new group of signals. Enemy fighters coming your way.
My scope's negative. I don't see anything.
Pick up your visual scanning. Here they come.
say Wall-E? How many say Star Wars? Okay, you guys are right. Wall-E is more accurate as far as Newton's third law. Okay, now on Earth, can we do it? Do our fighter planes do banked curves like that?
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Air resistance.
Because of the air. Because of the air resistance. That's right. Okay, now, is there an atmosphere here? We're in space. Probably not an atmosphere unless you argue that the, what is this thing
The
called?
Death Star?
The Death Star. Does it have an atmosphere? I don't know. The book would have to be written with that in there for that to be accurate. Okay? And then you might have also known, well, there was sound in both, so we could talk
Oh.
about that. Okay, situation. You're driving down the highway and you hit a massive bug. Who received the larger force, car or bug?
Equal.
I can't trick you guys anymore. Okay, you're right, same force. Both received the same force. Okay, who experienced the larger acceleration, car or bug? Yes, why? One with the smaller mass, okay, is going to receive the larger acceleration. Okay, so let's say we've got a rifle and it's mounted, no one's holding it, it's mounted on like a rail and it can slide, okay? So we got a bullet in it, we're going to fire this thing, okay? Who received larger force, bullet or gun?
Neither.
Bullet or same?
Same.
Same.
Okay, same force. Alright. Another question. Who experienced larger acceleration? Bullet. Okay. The one with the smaller mass. Alright, we can look at this in terms of Newton's second law too. So we got acceleration is equal to F net over m. Same equation over there, but for the bullet. If I've got the gun, it's got a big mass. When I divide by big things, what happens to the other side?
It's small.
Small. Okay? Notice that the F nets are the same. Now for the bullet, if I divide by a tiny, tiny mass, what happens to acceleration? Bigger acceleration. So the second law comes into play here too. Okay, now this guy, I'm pretty sure, was not ready for this rifle. He needs a little bit more practice.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Okay.
not safe.
Alright, so from the video there, what could you tell me about maybe the mass of that bullet?
It was probably big. Or probably
Big old man.
Probably a pretty massive bullet with quite a bit of powder packed behind it. Which leads us to our next situation. Again, you're in the CIA. Okay, you got out of the first situation, but they captured you again. This time you got captured by some terrorists that are super into riddles and kind of thinking exercises and whatnot. And
Lucky us.
they tie you up, okay, you're like this, you're blindfolded, okay, and it's firing squad for you this time. What can you say to the terrorists that'll play on sort of their conceitedness? Terrorists are kind of conceited, they think very highly of themselves and not highly of other people. Okay, what can you say that would sort of play to that to get you out of this situation?
It's such a general riddle.
It is kind of a general riddle. Any ideas?
Your shoes are untied.
Shoes are untied. Yeah, they're a little smarter than that one, but that's a good start. Okay, we got something on the table. What else we got?
Talking about like, don't shoot the bullet because you'll receive the same force.
Oh, okay. Don't shoot this bullet, terrorist, because you're going to receive the same force from the gun, and it's going to hurt. He's on the right track. Okay, this one's hard. Do you want me to just tell you?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what you do. You say, all right, you guys got me. You're the best. Okay. So since I'm going down, I want to go down in style. I don't want you to shoot me with the smallest bullet you have. I want you to find the biggest bullet in the world. And I want the bullet to be so massive that it's more massive than the gun that it is shot with. So they like this idea. They're like, oh, okay, we'll get them. So they go and they find a huge bullet, tons of mass. It's made out of lead, and it is so massive that it is more massive than the gun they are shooting it with. They're going to pack all this powder behind it. Okay, so what's going to happen when they fire this thing? Okay, how about a visual? Let's check this out. So it's kind of like this. Okay, now, same things apply as before. Okay, so they fire this thing, and look at this. This is what's going to happen-ish. Okay, the bullet is going to receive the same force as the gun, but the gun's going to accelerate more because it's less massive, and it's going to hit them right in the face. Okay, and then you can untie yourself and leave.
What about the bullet? Where's the bullet?
The bullet is still going to come towards you, but gravity is going to take it down. It's going to hit the ground before it ever gets to you.
Well, it depends on how far they're shooting.
How do you know?
Okay, so when you
Sure.
find
They're
yourself
right in
in that
front of you.
situation, you find yourself thanking me for saving your life, just send me a little email, Mr. Hicks. I owe you much. That would just be nice. It's thoughtful. Okay, my last and final example.
Oh.
Okay, this is great Newton's third law stuff here.
Indicate a weapon. Series 4 deatomizer. That's what I'm talking about. Noisy cricket.
Hey, King, no, come on, man. You get a Series 4 deatomizer, I get a little midget cricket. Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm gonna break this thing. Who breaks into a jewelry store and leaves all the jewels?
Somebody not looking for jewelry.
This guy had a serious crush on his cat. King, get out! That's the boss in the episode.
Alright, so what can we say about the mass of the fictitious bullet?
It's a lot.
It's like
Large
it's like
mass,
mercury.
right? Okay, now later in the class we'll talk about the same stuff with momentum in mind instead of forces. Okay? Alright, that's it.
Mr. Hicks, I have a